Yeah, it's because of the financial aspect. If we have enough capital, at least if we produce and supply every week, then it will be okay.
As a beneficiary of the Business Development Fund for Women, BODFO, Mrs. Ibilade says they look forward to getting more money from the Bank of Industry for working capital after paying off a major part of the facility which the company has already acquired. On 108 Station Road in Oshogbo, Osun State, Mrs. Bisola Lawal has ventured into a line of business which is dominated by men. She has formed the business BCREM Nigeria Enterprises. She's into printing, another beneficiary of BODFO. Station Road in Oshogbo is a popular commercial area, although some of the buildings here are residential. Mrs. Bisola Lawal has been able to rent a portion for her business. BCREM Nigeria Enterprises works from here. They make exercise books for primary, secondary and higher institutions, as well as other printing press jobs. They order for plain sheets from Lagos and set to work with the ruling machine. Still operating in the micro level, most of the work here is done manually with just basic technology in use.
It's already set there. You don't have big, you don't have small. It's set. It's already fixed there. The machine I'm using is exercise books machine, so it's already fixed. The line is there.
One of the devices used in the printing of the lines is a finger protector, which is to ease the sliding of the papers. The covers are also produced with these equipment and require a lot of attention during printing.
We clean it because of the cover, so that the cover will clean. It will not have stain, ink stain.
For now, about 50 bundles of the sheets of papers are used in a week by BCREM. They ask for more patronage, especially from the state government. Mrs. Lawal says she employs hands only when she has bulk orders, as she has over the years learned how to maneuver the machines.
I used to, before, one of my brother, he has big printing press. And I just went there one day, I see him, he's working, and I see the job is, I said, why? I can do this job now. And I just try it in that company that day. I make one printing for him. I try to print. He's trying to print something, and I try it. I said, wow, I can do this thing now. That's why I fall in love with it.
All these activities and a whole lot more are being coordinated by the Bank of Industry Southwest Zonal Office, being headed by James Barade. He tells us more about the activities of the zone, which comprises of 4 states.
The bank is involved with the 4 states in the region, and we have matching fund arrangements with the 4 states like you stated, to the tune of almost 2 billion naira, with over 350 beneficiaries in the various categories of the funds. Like the state matching funds, amongst the 4 states under the zone, we have about 23 SMEs and over 200 microcredits that have benefited from the fund. And in general, I will say that the performance is not bad, it's fair. It's a good mark for the bank and for the states that are involved. We also have the Dangote Fund that is being managed by the bank on behalf of the Dangote Foundation, and we have the BODFO Fund, which is business development for women, which is an initiative of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs that is geared towards empowering women entrepreneurs. So the funds, in general, I would say, are doing very well.
We know that the Bank of Industry some years back launched the paradigm shift, and the major purpose of it was to reach the very small businesses, the micro businesses, and that's also one of the platforms through which the the matching phone scheme, was birthed. So how is the matching phone scheme doing? How is reaching the micro businesses? How is it in this zone with the 4 states under your purview?
Well, I will still say, I will still reiterate, like I stated earlier, that the performance has been fair. Of course, you cannot do away with the initial hiccups you encounter with microcredits, especially when you deal with multipurpose cooperative societies, where in some instances you have strange bedfellows coming together just because they got information that there is fund for them to assess. However, I will still say that the experience has been very, very palatable. Of course, the general problem, like we all know, is the problem of infrastructure, the problem of power. These problems are still there, where even the SMEs have to rely on generating sets to augment their power sources. Otherwise, I will say in the Southwest, the experience has been just okay.
We know that you have the matching fund scheme, which brings you really close to the state government. They bring certain amounts, you match up with whatever they bring, and then in the course of choosing the beneficiaries of these funds, you also have to work with the state government. We'd like to know the relationship, the working relationship you have with the state government, because we want to assume that the Bank of Industry is very professional, but coming from the state government, are there certain sentiments, that sway the choosing of the beneficiaries of these funds?
The experience has been wonderful. Why? Because of all the states we are partnering with, we have not had any negative experience. Why? Because despite the fact that these state governments have released funds to the bank, they have given us the latitude to be professional in our selection and appraisal processes. However, you would expect that from time to time, they will request some forms or some information from us as to the performances of the fund to enable them also evaluate and maybe make suggestions where necessary.
Now, one of the challenges of giving loans in Nigeria has been mostly debt recovery, because some Nigerians, once they hear that the money has anything to do with the government, they just feel it's my share of the national cake. Are you having this kind of challenge in administering these funds that the bank is managing?
Wow, it's neither here nor there, because in every banking relationship you have with your customers, you always have the categories of customers that all banks have. You're talking about the willing and able, the willing but unable, the able but unwilling, the unable and unwilling. They all exist. We have customers who benefit from these facilities and they pay up within record time. We have those whose facilities have to be restructured over time because of challenges with the either operating environment or technical issues with the project itself. However, we have, will I say, a minute percentage that has this mindset. It is our money, especially when they know that these are matching funds from their various state governments. They just feel it is their own share of the national cake. So that problem is there. But compared to the overall performance of the beneficiaries, they are a minute percentage.
But how do we deal, even though they're in a minute percentage, how do we deal with it? Because if they are there, they might be minute, but they still have their own impact on the fund, which should have been recycled to, other Nigerians.
Now, that's the beautiful thing about the states under Akure Zonal Office. We have, in all these states, desks that are dedicated to the management of these funds. We interact with these desks through correspondences, through phone calls, and from time to time, we partner with them and go on visitation to check or inspect the progress of these funds. So the state ministries have actually been helping us in this regard.
Apart from the matching fund scheme and the other funds that the bank manages, we know that the bank also deals directly with some clients. They go directly and fund some projects. So how is that in this zone, and about how many are they?
Yes, the major strength of Bank of Industry is even the SMEs and the large enterprises. And the matching fund with the state government have just been ways of trying to cascade down to those at the lowest rung of the ladder. Now, when you talk about the core area of Bank of Industry's expertise, we are doing very well. We have projects spread across the 4 states of the zonal office under the purview of the zonal office, and these projects are doing very, very well.
A lot of people, when they watch BOI Weekly, they just feel, okay, the bank has some money, I want to access it. But a lot of people do not really understand the criteria. Who can benefit from the funding of the Bank of Industry? What do they need to have? What line of business do they need to be? Some people ask me, okay, I have a farm, can I get this? So what are some of these things that people should know if they want to benefit from the Bank of Industry? For example, somebody who is involved in agriculture, for instance.
The Bank of Industry does not partner with any individual in the area of primary agriculture. But where there's value added to the agricultural chain, where processing is involved and there's a need for the use of items of plant and machinery, the Bank of Industry is involved. To your second question, BOI does not deal directly with individuals as individuals. You have to, first of all, be a legal entity as recognized by law and duly registered either with the State Ministry of Cooperatives or the Corporate Affairs Commission. And when you have all of your documentations in place, you can approach the Bank of Industry.
Now, does the person need to already be in business, or somebody can just have an idea and come to the bank?
We encourage people to start something before coming to the bank for expansion. We are more comfortable dealing with people, with entities that are already in the business and they know what they are doing, they have tested the waters, and they know their left from their right. But of course, we go into greenfield. We also do new projects. But we also need to assess not just the concept itself, we also assess the capability and credibility of the individuals involved to be sure that they know what they are doing, in order not to have a nasty experience at the end of the day.
Talking about BOTFO, the BOTFO Fund, we know that it's from the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, and it's being managed directly by the bank's headquarters in Lagos, but each state has its own share and they have to manage it. Is this still available? What's going on in the Southwest zone?
As I speak with you, we have financed quite a number of them in the zone. I'm talking about close to 8 in Ondo, Osun, and Oyo states. And they're doing very well.
Okay. Now, what about the youth now, the people who are fresh from school, who do not have experience, who do not have assets, who do not have capital, they don't have anything, but we know that these are the youth of Nigeria who need to be employed. Does the bank have any program or plan for them?
The bank has been doing a lot in the area of advocacy. As I speak with you, last year the bank signed an MOU with the NYSC. And as a result of which every year, each time coppers are in the camp and they are close to their personal parades, officers of the bank visit all the NYSC camps across the Federation and interface with these coppers and give them some forms of entrepreneurial training and advice on how to access our funds after their service year in order to cushion the effect of unemployment. We are involved in that. We are also involved in forms of trainings, organizations, establishments invite us from time to time to deliver lectures or papers on how to access the bank's funds.
That's our journey on this episode of BOI Weekly, but of course the story is never exhausted. That means next time we'll bring you fresh stories of industrialization on BOI Weekly. I'm Ini Thompson.